We all know the big corporations are taking control, but did you know that chess.com themselves have been engineering poor old Peter the Pumpkin to make him a pretty scary chess opponent this Halloween? So they've been, I don't know, they've been doing some weird genetic engineering on this pumpkin. And after this Peter started playing chess at the beginning of October, his friend, we're going to be taking on Jack O'Lantern as well, all right? His friend Jack O'Lantern actually introduced him to the game. He's improving fast, but he can get scared very easily. So we're going to try and take down Peter the Pumpkin. I feel like a pumpkin right now doing the introduction, guys. Right. So we're going to get a Caro-Kann on the board, and that is instantly an awful move. I'd honestly rather the knight be here than on the edge of the board. And we can even just play a move like this just to make that knight look extra silly. It's never really going to develop that easy. And then if we put a pawn in the center, maybe the knight, what is it doing? We could also just take it off with the light square bishop, damage the opponent's pawn structure. So Peter off to a bit of a shaky start here. So I'm just going to do a break in the center. If take, I like that. We get 2 pawns in the center. And then maybe we can push the e-pawn in on their bishop. So Peter trying to develop with this diagonal here. So we're just going to continue normally. There's a bit of an option of taking here. Damage the structure. I don't see why not. Let's just do it. It's a nice... Oh, and they don't even take back. It's a nice developing move, this, because we're taking an undeveloped piece and trading it off for one of their developed pieces, as well as damaging the structure. So I think that's well worth the cost of a bishop for a knight. So they do not recapture. They are threatening this pawn here. So what if we throw in this capture? They take... I think we just retreat. We've won a piece. We just retreat. We give up this pawn. We don't worry about it too much. And Peter doesn't take the pawn, so he's I don't know. Someone needs to light a candle under Peter's belly here. He's not playing the best so far. So we're gonna come out, develop into the center. Now that is a jeez. What is this? This is throwing caution to the wind. But I think we're going to carve you open now, Pete. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Right. We're going to add more pressure to that pawn, maybe just lift the queen. If this, it just looks over. I invite this. I mean, we take, open up the rook. But I'm not scared of this pawn. So we can go take. Do I take with the knight? I think I do. Keep the bishop on the board. And if their bishop takes, my bishop would be dominating on these light squares. So how do we get through? We need a piece lined up with that king, right? I mean, this here is a very strong bishop. We can get... My arrows aren't working, but if we can get that there. In here, but they trade it off. But here they push this pawn, but we take... Or just put the bishop here to defend the base of the pawn chain. I think we want to focus on like this side of the board. I don't want to induce any progression in the position for Peter on this side, because we want to play where we're strong. Okay, so coming out here, and I might want to castle this way and just start sending these pawns. Start sending these pawns here. So let's go for that. I mean, I just told Peter off for putting the knight on the edge of the board, but what if we go here, then here? Let's try it. See if he punishes us for that. So we can take, and I often like to take if it just dislodges the rook, but here they can take with the bishop, and that bishop would then be on a really strong diagonal, so there's no way I'm doing that. We're going to develop the knight a little bit further. So their knight covers this pawn here. This is getting a bit interesting. How do we actually attack in the best way here? So this is defended by this bishop. So I could like swing the queen over like this little maneuver. And it's looking pretty tragic for that king. Just got to be a bit careful. That dark square bishop is fairly strong. So another idea would be to somehow add pressure to this pawn. Take here. No, nothing happening there. I'm just going to... Let's get castled, right? Let's get castled, and we're going to bring the rooks and start sending these pawns down the board. So if we add another defender to the knight. which is nice. They just kick my knight out. Could I even just give that knight up? If I go here and they take and I get this, I'm gonna go for that, guys. They don't even take the knight, because I think if I'm hitting the queen, I open up a file. Importantly, that's what I'm thinking. I'm already up some material. I'm just trying to find like a decisive. If I can an open file here would just be decisive against that open king. If I could get a rook like here, bang bang. Honestly, sacking. I want to sack. Even if bishop takes rook, I'm not really worried, because that bishop's their strongest piece, and I could then get another rook here. If this, trading off the strongest piece, seems like an idea, right? Okay, bang bang, but that's just a trade. And they've taken my weak knight that had to retreat, and I've taken their strongest piece. So I think I'm pretty happy with that trade. But now my light square bishop is struggling a little bit. So we just slide it back to maintain the cohesion of the rooks. So they're trying to now break through on my king. It's quite an interesting game here. So, wow, why is my head so small? I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Right. We want to break through. All right, let's just go for it. Let's just keep pushing this pawn. We could double the rooks here as well. I don't see what this is doing. I'm just going to ignore that last move. So that's blockading with the queen. So they're using 8 points of material just to stop 1 point of material from progressing. So yeah, it's not great. Maybe bishop here, hit the rook. I might just slide back with this bishop here, and then try and push this other pawn. Oh, I mean, now that allows me to go for this plan again, double up the rooks and hit that bishop. All right, now we've got it. So this seems like we're crashing through here. Okay, they just moved the king. So Peter there, not the most accurate move, but maybe they were getting mated otherwise. So if here we get this gorgeous diagonal, and actually we get both. This is gonna be. I'm praying the queen doesn't sack here. Oh, this is gonna be gorgeous. So we're gonna get both bishops like absolutely skewering the board. So if here, and this. Oh no, queen takes. Okay. I was getting a bit too excited. Still, this looks nice. Do I want to hit the queen first? This just looks so like this even looks good. A bit slow maybe, but just adding. The knight isn't really doing much here, so I'm just gonna play this slow move. I'm still gonna play it because it hits a rook, and that's an awful move. I just dropped a rook. Sorry guys, sorry. I was relaxing a little bit too much there, but we're gonna come back, hit this. Where's that knight gonna go? We're asking a lot of questions now. And I mean, you know, any sort of sack I can do here should just be winning. But I'm actually not even up material anymore, so I need to be a little bit careful. So if we're setting up this tactic here, I mean, maybe it would just be decisive, winning the queen. So the queen slides off that alignment issue. So if we take, they take, we take. Oh, I honestly like that. 2 pawns for the bishop. It was a strong bishop, admittedly, but you know, if we take this as well, the king opens up. I think I've been way too aggressive this game, by the way, guys. I mean, you know, when they do stuff like that, they just give you a piece. It doesn't really make you want to play accurately. But yeah, we've got checks coming in here. How do we finish Peter? We've cut his lid off, but we need to eat out his inside. Right, stop talking about pumpkins, right? How do we get in? Do we just take another pawn? We just keep... This pawn is just gobbled. And again, I mean... Okay. Okay, so king takes back. So now we want to get... Well, if here, does he have like any perpetual checks? Just maybe slide back with a bishop. If he checks us, we slide back with a bishop maybe. So here, offering a queen trade. Let's try it. Did he have this move check? Winning the bishop? No, I always slide back. So I want to get this move in. I don't have a check with the knight. If here, I'm just a bit concerned about my king, really. I'm just going to play this to sort of make myself feel better. There's this check, but I just come back. I'm going to offer another queen trade just to try and simplify. And Peter is actually very aggressive. A lot of the bots have this weakness where they'll just trade queens even when they're losing. But Peter, you know, has some sort of understanding of that. A deep level understanding. So we got a check, we got a check. None of them work. God, what if taking a little bit of time to knock Peter out? Right. So we've got if this and takes. Is there anything there? No. I'm going to try and open up my king. Just give my king like a square. Just make me a bit more comfortable. So we can take here, which opens up this for my queen. Okay, we're going to slide over. Maybe this check comes though. I'm really not playing this in the most accurate way, guys. I'm allowing checks here. You know, I'm going to have to slide back. And now I'm in. Now I'm in. Okay, now I'm in. All right, so we've got some revealed stuff on the rook. So let's sacrifice this pawn. Maybe get the king to a square where I can give a check. Still can't give a check with the knight and win the rook. This. You know what about this? Just hitting the rook. Just straight up, simple. So that's a check that allows us to trade queens. So we've got 2 pieces for the rook, which is like normally better, normally winning. So this check. But my pawns are very scattered here. So we've got to try and find a way to solidify everything. Like this move. I want to get bishop maybe like in a little fortress. Like here. Just try and solidify. Maybe this pawn here. We don't mind giving up one of these double pawns, but just not both. We come up, we march. The king march begins. And this is horrible. This is horrible endgame play, guys. Taking the king away from the center. Instructional, though. Do not do that. So Peter spent all his time learning the middle game. And so we're just going to keep bringing our king. Maybe put the knight on an outpost square. Seems alright. Always monitoring this. And then we can try and push. So if... we're just going to push up with the king. I don't know what to do if he starts coming at me. If this move, though, hitting the rook, stopping him coming here. And now, am I just marching in? Yeah, here we go, guys. Here we go. So actually, Peter playing to his rating. I'd say most of the bots don't play like the rating. You know, if they're 1,000, they play like 700. I'd say Peter actually played like 1,000 rated today. So we're gonna... I didn't realize that was a check, guys. I was just defending the knight, but we're gonna come up, and there we go. And this should be decisive momentarily. So we're gonna run this guy, and the knight is there ready to support the promotion. And where is the quickest mate? There's a check. It's a bit awkward mating with these pieces actually, but here we go. That's quite easy. All right. So Peter the Pumpkin put up. Actually, I've got a lot of respect for Peter. A lot of these bots, you can tell, I'm a little bit exasperated, and you know, they don't. It's a bit disrespectful if they're like 1,000 rated, but they play like a 500. You know, disrespectful to actual 1,000s. Peter, I think, played pretty decent there. So yeah, go take him on. And next, we're going to be taking on Jack-O-Lantern Pumpkin. See you next time. Cheers.